timing. We're leading right into Geography Awareness Week and GIS Day pretty soon on November 16th. So my name is Candice Luebbering. I work at the AAG, now the American Association of Geographers, just recently known as Association of American Geographers, but we'll answer to both. But I have the awesome job of being the coordinator on the AAG side of things of this really exciting endeavor, the GeoMentors program, which, simply put, it's an important mentoring opportunity. You can help improve GIS in K-12 education in the U.S. And it's honestly, it's an opportunity to contribute to the future of GIS use, of GIS innovation, and it's a great service opportunity for professional development and a way to give back to your community. So today I want to present on the nuts and bolts of the program, what it is, what we've been up to, how you can get involved, and then I'm excited to hear from you all, your questions, your insights, kind of your experiences. Hopefully we have some already enrolled GeoMentors attending with us. So if you're here today, if you're listening right now, you're likely passionate about or curious about how we can improve geography in GIS in K-12 education. So we're currently a room, so to speak, of kindred spirits. That's why I'm really excited to be here. And I thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to hearing from you at the end of my presentation and also afterwards. Feel free to contact me and stay in touch. So first, I want to give a little background to the program. If you haven't heard about it before, you may have heard about the Department of Education's Connect Ed initiative. This is a big blanket program that all this kind of was inspired by. And the overall thrust of that was to increase access to and use of technology for students in classrooms across the country, all kinds of technology. And as part of the Connect Ed program, a lot of different businesses made software and technology donations to schools to support this. And that's where Esri came in. They offered the gift of free ArcGIS Online organizational accounts. Those are the full feature fancy versions to basically any K-12 school in the U.S. that wants it, public, private, no matter what. All they have to do is sign up. So this is an amazing gift. It introduces GIS software and geographic concepts into classrooms and allows students, to map and analyze data with the same technology that's used by governments and businesses. So Esri has, launched this lofty goal, and I like that. Why not aim high? They would like to have ArcGIS Online adopted at 25,000 K-12 schools and software access to 1 million school users. So that's what we're going for, and to keep going from there. And for anyone who's curious about kind of the timeline of this donation, so you can see on the slide there, Connect Ed was launched in 2013. Esri kind of announced their donation. It really was coordinated really early 2015, or excuse me, 2014. But just recently, Esri's own Charlie Fitzpatrick, which some of you may know, but I really want to give a nod to him. He's the real energy and force behind the GeoMentors concept since it began in about 2004. But he just tweeted in mid-October that Esri will continue their Connect Ed K-12 commitments for the next 3+ years. So any concern of, is this a short time, is this going to disappear within the next few months or a year or two, that is not the case. There is a longer term commitment here, Esri has, of offering the software to schools. So that's fantastic news. So this is wonderful, right? We have this amazing software gift, and it represents a great opportunity. As I'm sure this audience knows, we all agree, GIS is this really powerful education technology that can really be used across all subjects. It's not just something for geographers and in geography classrooms. So I don't know about you, I didn't really learn about GIS until late in undergraduate, but honestly, I didn't really use it until graduate school. So now I look at this program and I think about, can you imagine if you were introduced to GIS and web mapping in grade school? I mean, can you imagine how much more intuitive, geographic concepts and analysis could be for you if you had such early exposure? And if you think of what increased use of GIS at K-12 level could do for our future workforce, for future innovation in the field, I mean, okay, you might be able to tell from my voice, I'm a little excited about this. I mean, I would be thrilled to have encountered this when I was younger. I think it would have been such a light bulb moment for me. And basically, I'm a math nerd, and I'm thinking about how we can have this next larger generation of more math nerds and people using this technology. And that's what this really represents. So this is this great gift, this great opportunity, but also I think we're all well aware that teachers don't exactly have a lot of time and resources at their disposal. They're kind of overtaxed in many ways and have so much already on their plate. So we can't just say, hey, here's some software, figure out how to use it and figure out how to incorporate it in your classroom. That's not going to work. We can't really ask that of them. We already ask probably more than a lot have time and energy to give. So that's where this GeoMentors program comes in. We want to make sure that this software gift isn't just dropped out there and doesn't get used. We want to set up the best chance that people can take advantage of this. So with the free software, we want free help so that it actually gets used, and that's the GeoMentors. Esri is partnering with us here at the AAG to develop this nationwide volunteer network of GeoMentors, of knowledgeable GIS users who want to help educators with implementing this in their classrooms. So our volunteers play this really pivotal role of helping make sure that this software can get used, of improving GIS and geography education by being that go-between between the software gift and the teachers who want to use it, and help them figure out how they can make that happen. So the role of the AAG in this partnership, the fun job that I honestly get to do is, we already have this amazing GIS community who's ready to volunteer their time. We have these amazing educators who are always looking for ways to enhance their classroom experience. Our role is to bring those two parties together, right? Our role is to recruit and organize these participants and the process, to facilitate connections among schools and GIS collaborators, and motivate everybody to keep going at this, that every little bit helps, and keep being creative and motivated to find ways that we can implement this in classrooms across the country. So if you remember nothing else that I present today, and I hope you remember more than one thing, but if you only remember one thing, I want you to remember geomentors.net. That's our program website. That's where pretty much everything I'm talking about and resources is housed there, or you can find it there. So that's our home for everything, geomentors.net. So after the overview, kind of next step, maybe you're thinking of, okay, well, who exactly can be a GeoMentor? And honestly, if you are interested in this webinar, if you're listening right now, whether live or later on, pretty sure you can be a GeoMentor in some capacity. Many of you are already GeoMentors in action. You're advocating for our discipline. And we welcome really all skill and career levels, because everyone with some GIS experience, some geographic spatial thinking knowledge, has something to offer K-12 classrooms. Whether it's undergraduate students to seasoned professionals, the bottom line is we all have this love of things geo, we all have this love of things mappy, and it's more that enthusiasm and wanting to share it than a specific list of advanced skills that are required. So you do not need to be a GIS whiz to be a GeoMentor. You absolutely can be. We're not going to turn you away for being too skilled. But you don't have to be. You don't have to have a certain number of degrees or credit hours or anything like that in order to be, a great asset to a K-12 classroom. I mean, even if you know of a great web map that you could demonstrate and connect to a class topic, help people navigate, and then offer thoughtful questions that they can glean answers from and discuss from that map and think of it in a different way, that's already a great activity. And by no means do you need to be a really well-versed, thorough GIS expert to do that. So a big take-home message here is I don't want anyone to think that there's this high bar of qualifications or education you have to meet in order to even think about being a GeoMentor. If you have the passion, if you have the enthusiasm, and you want to share this, that takes you far. That's what we're really looking for. But we have lots of training curriculum materials available on our website, geomentors.net. So we've got that covered too, and that we help you. And hopefully right now I'm speaking to a number of potential GeoMentors. I'm going to imagine that wherever you are in the world, in the US right now, you're maybe nodding your heads in agreement. So keep me motivated to keep going here. But for example, so in the image here, it's not just a filler on the slide. That's us at the Esri User Conference, and Adam there in the middle was a recent graduate. He's got his first job working for a city GIS department, and he was uncertain that he knew enough, and absolutely he knows enough because he's passionate. He was passionate specifically about making sure GIS was reaching low-income students in his community. So he represents kind of one spot on the career spectrum, the experience spectrum that our GeoMentors community has. And to follow up with that, about welcoming this range of experience and how our community represents that, this is just a result of one of our background questions we asked for GeoMentors registration, asking people if they have degrees and certificates in geography or GIS&T. And we don't ask this as a way of filtering out volunteers. We're just curious as to who our GeoMentors are. and what our range of experience is. And we do have a range, and that's what's fantastic. So you can see, you know, a fifth of people don't have a degree, a specific degree or certificate in geography or GIS, and that's fine. You do not have to. But then you also see we have almost a quarter that have a bachelor's, nearing 30% with a master's, and even about 9% with a PhD. So we really have this whole spectrum, and that's what we want. We want variety of experience, of expertise. We don't encourage one group more than another. We don't discourage for lack of depth and experience. You know, we're trying to reach so many different schools and classrooms that all have unique needs and interests. And so we want to be able to match that diversity with our range of experience or expertise and interest. So again, there is no barrier of a certain level of qualifications you need to have to be a GeoMentor. We have kind of everyone, and we love that. That's what we want to continue having. And you get that from the variety of the descriptions of our GeoMentors. We have everyone, and they definitely aren't just geographers either, right? So a biologist with National Park Service, one of our, I like to call dual role, kind of all-star teacher and GeoMentors, like an AP Human Geography teacher, software architect, grad students, urban planners, certified health educators. Our community is composed of individuals from a variety of job sectors, representing a diversity of organizations and affiliations. So we represent this diversity of experience and perspective to offer all kinds of classrooms across the country, different subjects, different levels, doing different types of projects. Again, it's not just putting geographers in geography classrooms. It's putting this diverse community of GeoMentors in all kinds of classrooms, so we can relate to the variety of work and interests of students and teachers across the country. So our community is broad, and that makes our potential reach very broad, and that's the idea of this whole thing. So now, again, hopefully still have you considering being a GeoMentor, or those of you who are still trying to get you motivated, getting excited about how to get involved. And a logical next question is, okay, what do I do exactly as a GeoMentor? And it's not one simple answer, because really you can do just about anything that's of interest to you or of interest to students and educators out there, and what they're asking for help with. So there's an endless variety of activities you can be involved in, so you really can kind of choose your own adventure. You can find what suits you best. So to start with, let's say you're not a GIS whiz. Again, totally fine. But you're pretty well versed in the benefits of GIS, you're eager to talk about that. That first step there of advocating GIS adoption, of talking about the benefits of this and help a school know that they can get this software and sign up, it seems like a simple thing, getting a school to sign up for software in an online form, but it's huge. It's an integral step. Until we have them do that, you know, they're not necessarily going to really explore how they might use this in their school. So that's huge. So even if you can just talk about GIS and maybe don't want to demonstrate it that much, that's a huge thing that we need our volunteers to do. Demonstrating available classroom exercises. You don't have to reinvent the wheel and build a whole new exercise. There's tons of online resources, but being that go-to person for a teacher who can practice, who can go through it so that they feel comfortable then doing it in their own classroom, that's fantastic. Sharing information about careers in GIS, talking about what you do as a geographer, as someone who works with GIS and educational and career opportunities, that's great as well. Or we have people getting super involved who are helping teachers, helping student groups, various informal ed groups, you know, design a new project or help find data or collect data on something they're interested in. So tailoring a very specific project to an interest that's out there. So it's anything, it's that and everything else in between. You can work locally in the community in person, or you can work with educators across the country digitally, right? You can have phone calls, you can share emails, you can do webinars or video calls. It's what works for you, it's what works for them, and what fits everyone's preferences and needs. So the image here, these are high school students from Washington Lee High School in Virginia. Their teacher, who is also, again, a dual role educator and GeoMentor, it's actually a GIS class, and he partners his students with GeoMentors, with people who work with GIS, so that they can do these kind of real world research context projects and present at the end of the semester. So those are the big four kind of general areas where you can work. Also wanted to give you a few specific examples, but we have lots more of these. We have hundreds of activities that have been reported, and every single one of them is a little unique as far as how someone connected with Collaborator and what they ended up doing. So there's no cookie cutter mold really of a GeoMentor experience, and that makes sense because there's no cookie cutter mold for every K-12 classroom in the US. They're all so different. So the first one here, right? There's some schools that there's only some school registered with their account, right? And has people excited about how to use this. That's huge. That's a huge first step. The next one, connecting to what's going on already in a classroom. So a classroom's learning about earthquakes and architecture. So they're going to show how 3D GIS can model these events, right? This software technology can be used to be a new visualization for what they're already learning. We're not trying to come in and supplant or replace curriculum. We're trying to support it. The third bullet point, you might do kind of a teachers teaching the teachers kind of thing, where a person was asked to present to middle-level educators on how they can teach with maps and GIS. That's fantastic. That could be one person gives a presentation to 10, 15, 20 or more educators who then go on and think how they can use it in their classroom, and it can spread from there. Or the last one always makes me smile. I reached out to my daughter's 4th grade challenge program teacher. I shared a bunch of resources with her and inadvertently caused her to change her entire lesson plan to incorporate GIS. Oops. That's the kind of oops moment that I'm all about. That we want more oops moments like that, where you show this resource and that moment goes off where, wow, this is a great tool that can help add to what I'm already teaching, and let's incorporate it. So again, what you can do, really, it's all up to you and what people are looking for. And I simply ask our GeoMentors, get involved when you can, to the extent that you can, be it now or later, be it a one-time event for starting with, or if you can do an ongoing collaboration with the same teacher or classroom, that's great. Every little bit helps, and every little bit really could spark something new for an educator, for a student, for a group of students. So I'm going to cue Diana right now. I'd like to do our first poll really quick just to get an idea of who we have today, and ask and find out how many of you are already registered as GeoMentors in our program. And Diana, I am not able to see the poll.
Yep, I'm just gonna, I will close up this poll now. Thanks everybody for casting your votes. And as you can see, actually I'm not sure, Candice, whether you can see this, but of the people listening right now, we've got 47, almost half already registered in the program. About 40% are not, and then another 10, 11% are not quite sure yet whether they've already been registered or not, whether they already have themselves registered in the program or not.
All right, perfect. That's awesome. That's what I wanted. I wanted a little bit of everything. So first of all, thank you so much to those of you who are already registered GeoMentors. That's fantastic. And I'm hoping that you pick up something new, or maybe even get a chance to share your experience at the end of this. I'm also equally excited for those of you who aren't registered yet, so I have more potential GeoMentors listening in right now, which is fantastic. And those of you who aren't sure, you can always email me and ask, or sign up again, and we'll check for duplicates. The GeoMentor program did exist. Esri had it going, again, like from about 2004. Before we started this joint partnership 2 years ago. So I know we've had some people who are familiar with the concept before, maybe were part of it before or thought they were. So I understand those of you who aren't sure, and we're happy to clarify that. So you can always email us. So right now I'm going to speak to the 40% or so that isn't yet registered. If you're, well, you're still listening, so that's the first win. But if you're ready to be part of this, signing up is really quick and painless, I promise. You just sign up online. You can see at the bottom there, it's geomentors.net/participate. We do have kind of both sides of the collaboration registration forms available. So you can sign up to be a GeoMentor. You could also sign up if you're an educator seeking a GeoMentor. So if you are a teacher looking for someone, you can sign up there. Those of you who are GeoMentors or wanting to be GeoMentors, if you know K-12 teachers who might be interested in this, let them know that they can register and basically put their digital hand in the air saying they're looking for assistance. But the online form is just some basic contact info, asks you the type of general volunteer opportunities you're looking for, how you prefer to communicate, and your kind of areas of knowledge. basically, we're just facilitating so that educators and GeoMentors can find each other, can find people who want to work and match up in the same way that they're looking for. So again, many of you are already GeoMentors in name. Whether or not you are registered officially with us, you've been a GeoMentor by the work that you do, the enthusiasm you have, the advocacy you put forth for geography and GIS education, but we would love to officially have you in our ranks, also just so we can keep you then up to date with our community efforts and activities and be in touch with you. So do consider registering. And if you do register, just know you are not going to be alone. This is our registration trend line from last year. 2015 was our first full year of this AAG Esri collaboration. Our goal for the entire year was to recruit 500 GeoMentors by the end of it. We didn't launch our program till late March, but already by August, we hit that 500 and we kept going. So we actually had 750 by the end of year one, and we're currently in year two, 2016. Our goal was to have 1,000 by the end of the year, and we hit 1,000 in February already. So obviously, people are excited to be involved. This is really a community, and we are growing. This is not a stagnant thing. I think the excitement just continues to build because we're just fun, enthusiastic people. We want to share GIS and mapping knowledge. So you are going to be part of a community. You're going to be able to connect with other people who are passionate about it. And when you do sign up, you have online interactive maps and database. So you become a dot on the map, and as of yesterday, and I should have checked again at lunch today, but we had 1,349 GeoMentors. I'm hoping right now maybe we're getting a couple more, maybe shortly after this. So do know, again, it's a growing community. We'd love to have you part of it. And while that's a high number of volunteers, if you think of the thousands of schools we want to reach, the millions of students who are out there who maybe haven't, seen this technology before or are lacking geography or spatial thinking incorporated much in their curriculums, more volunteers the better. We're looking to fill in this map. So we'd love, again, to increase our numbers today. I won't even be mad at you right now if you, minimize this on your screen and dive off with your browser and sign up online and then come back. That's fine. I totally wouldn't care. But I do hope you can consider being a part of this. So once you're part of this, again, I'm trying to go through kind of the basic questions you might have of getting involved. Next is really the exciting step, and can be a challenging step, of finding someone to work with. So we provide information and guidelines on how you can find collaborators, how you can communicate with them, start that conversation, information for teachers on how to find a GeoMentor. Again, that's on our website. That's going to be under the Connect tab. And there's a lot of different general ways. Like I noted before, almost every GeoMentor experience is a little bit unique, and that includes how they connect with their collaborator. The general ways you can do it, first of all, of course, if we have educators who are signed up saying, I want help, you can find them online in our database and reach out to them and go directly to these people are looking for assistance. You can reach out to the local schools in your community, right? Work locally to see if they have the software. If they do, how are they using it? How can you help? But if you're also been involved in informal ed groups as well, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, 4-H, Boys and Girls Club of America, by all means, we're looking to reach students in any venue. So if that's a group you've been involved with before or would like to, you can work with them as well. Esri does offer free software to informal education groups. It's a little bit different of a process. If that's an interest for you specifically, please do contact us and we can channel you through the right sign-up process for working with informal ed groups. And then I really want to emphasize, as you can tell because I changed the color and made it italics, the last point of using your own social network to find a collaborator. Right now, take a moment and think how many of you, or whether or not you know at least one K-12 teacher or employee in your life. Most of us, if we think about it, we know probably several. And so we found it's really effective and it's really valuable for people to use their own social network when figuring out who they could work with. So we have a lot of parents who are working with their children's schools. We have people who are working with friends who are K-12 teachers. People working with their own alma mater, right? You could be the person that helps bring GIS to your elementary school, your middle school, your high school. Working through an established social connection can add just that much more value to the experience. You're both a little bit more involved. You both know why you're involved. and you can also avoid that little awkward getting to know you stage, right? So I do encourage people maybe to stop and first think, do I know someone? Have I interacted with the school, even the school you go by all the time in your neighborhood, if you know someone that works there, and consider using your own social network as a starting point, as one option. And then I also want to note, right now, our current focus is really on K-12, right? I keep saying K-12, and that's because we're coinciding with this software donation. It's free software that goes to all K-12 schools. But the concept of geomentoring, of course, is bigger and broader than that. If you want to work with college students or the general public through different community groups or events, if you want to do paper map reading or economic or cultural geography topic that doesn't readily incorporate geospatial technology, by all means, do it. We want the concept and the outreach to go bigger and broader, right? Everyone can benefit from spatial thinking, from greater geography awareness. So don't think that you're limited in what you can do. You're only limited by the expanse of geography and GIS. So you're not very limited. So again, the opportunities for outreach are really endless. You can really find something that you're passionate about and that people, it connects to their interest as well. So focusing for now, again, because we're the software donation, this is our map of current schools who have signed up for their software, and we were really close to 4,000 when I last checked. So this is a good starting point when you're looking for a collaborator as well. Maybe you don't have that immediate social network connection that you can think of. So starting with a map, right? We like working from a map. This is a good way to go. Find a local school on the map. If they're on here, that means they've signed up. So contact the school and find out who's using the software, how are they using it, and would they like help, right? That's a great starting point. But also, as is often the case, what's not on the map is just as informative as what is. So if a school is not on the map and they haven't signed up for their free software yet, they might not even know that it's available. So you can recruit new schools to the program. You can let them know the software is available, let them know how it could potentially be used in their school, and help them know how to sign up and get started. So we have a template letter that can help you with that kind of outreach, and other materials for contacting a school official and starting that dialogue about the program. I want to connect this right now to an email I got this week from a GeoMentor who did this, who used the template letter, reached out to the school, had that first meeting with the principal. And, I'm not going to say this is always super easy. And they had an experience that we've heard before. Schools get pitched to a lot. They are trying to be sold things a lot. So there was initial reluctance and a little bit of pushback, and it caught our GeoMentor by surprise. It just wasn't something they were expecting. And then they realized afterwards they understood why. But then, they had this meeting, and he focused on 3 main points, that he had to get across to the principal. And it was that the program is free and it's real, that there are volunteers like himself, a GeoMentor, who can assist and want to assist, and that the use of the software and the program can be as big or as small as the school wants it to be. To get those across, that we're not, we're here to help and help them reach their classroom goals and introduce this technology that we think can just add to the experience for their students. And it went well from there, right? So the principal connected him now with 2 of their tech-savvy teachers. So now they're in talks, and they decided they're going to start small by introducing capabilities to part of the teaching staff and go from there. So that's an experience. That's one GeoMentor reaching out to one school. Now he's going to be working with a small group of teachers, and they're collectively going to see how this can work best at that school. So there are a lot of different ways to connect. There's a lot of ways you can make it more personal and engaging, and a connection to your community and your social network, and I encourage you to do that. As far as how the schools themselves get ArcGIS online, pretty simple. So it's esri.com/connected, and you're going to want someone from the school to do this. So we're going to want to scroll to the bottom of that website and click the request a free school account. So it should be a school representative. It doesn't have to be a certain caliber or of official. It doesn't have to be the principal. It can be a teacher or other appropriate staff that makes the request. And then Esri verifies that, oh yeah, you're a school, and you'll get an activation email for the account in about 2 business days. And there are a series of great documents Esri's put together online there. I have for the AGO instruction docs, some basics of using GIS in K-12, some really starter 5-minute exercises of getting to use the software, and also a document that talks more about how you can structure the account itself for the school depending on how you want to use it. So we get asked a lot by GeoMentors of, well, I don't have access to an organizational account in ArcGIS Online. How can I practice? How can I do this? The way you do that is through your school collaborator. So the school you're working with and their account, they administer it, and they can add you as a user. They might even add you as to help administrate the account itself. So that's how you get access, is by being part of the account of the school that you're collaborating with. So you can help find, share, make maps and data, and how to use it. But we do try and help you every step along the way. We're trying to do everything we can to provide you really all the material you need so you can spend more time focusing on the collaboration and less time having to dig for resources. That can get exhausting, that can get overwhelming. So we kind of have a curated collection of resources online. This is all on our Prepare tab on our website. Trying to make our website really be the one-stop shop for more than enough that you need to get going. So anything from information about ArcGIS Online, you might be more familiar with desktop, so you could check those out to get familiar with ArcGIS Online. Stuff designed specifically for educators to get a perspective of how to use GIS. And then a lot of free, ready-to-go exercises, anything from 15 minutes to an hour and a half, all of them being free, all of them having open access. So potential things that could be used in the classroom or be used by the teachers to get an idea of how you can do this. I think we'll all agree there's an absolute wealth of GIS activities and material out there to the point where it can be overwhelming. So we really want to make this kind of one online location where you can go and get more than enough you need to get started, and then combine this with your experience and your knowledge of materials to keep going with your collaboration. And of these resources, I just want to take a moment to highlight GeoInquiries. This is a relatively new thing. It's been developed in conjunction with Esri's connected donation. And this is what I want to call the plug-and-play option. This is for those who aren't sure about how we're going to use GIS. I don't see how this fits. These are 15-minute activities. They're designed to be used from a classroom as simple as a single computer and projector. You don't need a login. Everything is ready to go from a simple URL. And it outlines the skills that they align with, standard-based skills that they align with. It also notes which commonly used textbooks and sections of those textbooks that the exercise goes with. So these are fantastic ways to ask people about what they're teaching and show them, you know, we're not supplanting, we're not replacing your curriculum. Here's just a new way to visualize what you're already teaching. See if this works for you. So currently there are 5 of these, each 5 of these series of GeoInquiries. Each of them has 15 exercises. So Earth Science is for middle school. There's a U.S. History, Human Geography, and Environmental Science. Those are all aimed at high school. And then there's an interdisciplinary 4th grade set as well. But we found that these are a really great starting point. Again, to make sure and emphasize that we're not coming into school and telling them what they should do. We're asking them what they're teaching, what they'd like help with or new ideas with, and showing them how this software and this technology can go along with this and help with that. And so a lot of these, depending on who you work with, you probably can grab one of those GeoInquiry exercises as a great simple example of a visualization of something they might already be teaching. And that could be something right away they use, or it could be a good conversational starting point of where they might want to go from there and how they want to use this. So now that we're in our 2nd year of our program, we have, again, a lot more reports of activities coming in. And honestly, you know, I'm telling you some examples of what you can do, but you can really get the best feel from it by hearing from other GeoMentors and how their experience has gone. So we have a growing collection of online case studies. These are more detailed kind of reporting of people who want to volunteer and give more information about how their volunteer experience has gone. And at this point, we have at least 24 that are online. You see the website at the bottom there. This is under our review tab on our website. And I encourage you to check these out. These are people from all over the country working with all different grades and everything from a one-time event to ongoing collaborations. And what's nice is, you know, they talk about how they found their collaborator, how they connected. That's important for us to know and for you to get an idea of how that works. How much time they spent on this, what resources, existing resources they used, what new resources they created, and also what they got out of the experience. So, you know, it's a variety of location, of grade levels, of topics. And so I definitely point a lot of people to the case studies if you want to start getting a more tangible idea of what people are doing and get ideas of what you might want to do or what you don't want to do from reading these. Definitely check out our case studies. And they really do provide good narratives of an insight into the experience. They show how this really can be rewarding for everyone involved. And as GeoMentors, you're not just giving out help, you're getting benefits from it as well. So you can see the quote from Chuck here, that working as a GeoMentor has been an amazing experience. The kids love using the technology and solving problems. It's the same reason I love GIS. So, we're finding and hearing from a lot of people that being a GeoMentor can really remind you of why you got into the field in the first place and what you enjoy about it. You can see Diana in California, her comment here at the bottom. It encouraged her in her day-to-day work. It reminded her of how fun GIS can be and that it can be applied to almost everything you do daily. Often a lot of us use this technology in one little niche, focusing on one little problem, and we get away from remembering all the different ways it can be used and how exciting it was when we first started using GIS. And this can be a reminder of that, and it can be a validation of how much you really do know and how much you have to offer. And you can get a lot out of this volunteer experience. So I'm going to cue Diana for our second poll right now, now that we've talked about a little bit about what people are doing as volunteers, and just curious about what school levels or groups our current audience might be most interested in volunteering with. If you have a certain age group or grade level you think you'd like to work with.
Thanks, everyone. The poll is now available to be responded to, so we'll keep it open for another 10-15 seconds. Reach over to your keyboards. Okay, looks like we got everyone who's going to cast a vote right now. And these are our results. Candice, again, I'm just going to interpret them in case you can't see them right now. And people could have indicated multiple responses, but we've got middle school or high school coming out as the lead area of interest. 80% of people responded, indicated a preference for that, followed by elementary school with 40%. College, 20 informal, and those who had no preference came up as only about 15% of people indicated those. So clearly middle school or high school is the area that makes the most sense for some people.
All right, great. And yeah, that's a good target group. And I would say that's probably where the vast majority of our engagements do happen. And logically, there's more existing resources for working with students at that age than there are with people working with younger elementary age students, but we have that as well. And that's always exciting and interesting to hear about. And it's always the response of people being amazed of maybe underestimating how quickly kids take to technology. Because they do, and often you have people saying, yeah, pretty soon they were taking over and we're finding stuff before I could show them. But yeah, middle school and high school, that's a great target area, and there's a lot of demand in that area, and there's a lot of resources in that area. So fantastic to hear people that are interested really in all age groups as well. And now I just want to comment, I'm starting to wrap up here. We're not just trying to facilitate these isolated engagements and activities. I've used the word community probably quite a few times today, and that's because we're really trying to do. We're trying to build a community of GeoMentors, of educators who are going to discuss, who are going to ask questions, share experiences, exchange advice. We're trying to do that in any way we can. So we have multiple online communities and social media accounts to engage all of you. I encourage you to check these out. Pick your poison. We're on Twitter, Facebook. We got an Esri GeoNet group, an AAG knowledge community. But this is a great way not just to get program kind of news and notes from us, but hear about and see what other people are doing. From the Student Society group there at Western Illinois University on the left, who did this as a group activity. They partnered with the local high school, taught ArcGIS online for a couple days last year and are doing it again this year. So people are just excited. Megan in the bottom left there, she's just stoked to teach some kids about GIS, maps, and geography. I think that's what a lot of us are about this program. And I love Bethany's. Bethany has a couple tweets here. From the start, she was super excited when her daughter, who's in high school, found her mom on the GeoMentors map when they were looking initially at this program and how to use it in the classroom. And then she sent in that great photo there of trying to spot her in the midst of a sea of fourth graders. And I will admit, it took me longer than I thought it would to find her. But do check us out. We want to be available by any means that you communicate. And again, we do want this to be a community. We don't see this, it's not a simple short-term experience. We want this to be an ongoing, living, existing, energetic initiative that continues to do bigger and better things in K-12 education and beyond through you all, through this really amazing volunteer community. We do our best to stay in touch, but not bombard your inbox. I know that's a delicate balance, and I try and emphasize that and do that. So we have monthly GeoMentors newsletters that poses challenges, tells you about new resources, tells you how we're growing, and have a spotlight feature so you can get to know a fellow GeoMentor every month. And beyond the personal reward, of course, of helping the educational community, which is very much fulfilling in and of itself, this is an opportunity for you to gain service and outreach experience too. You can document this for your professional records. So we want to honor your contributions to the K-12 community and beyond. Let us know what you've been up to. We really need to know about what people are up to so we can see how we're doing via email or Twitter, or we have an online reporting form, and we'll send you a program certificate. And if we have any current or aspiring GISPs out there, you can use this volunteer experience for credit towards your certification or renewal for the professional service requirement. So think of that too. And we do certificates. It's one per school or group worked with per year. So if you work with multiple people in a year, you can get more than one of these. And we really do want to hear about what you're up to because we are trying to gauge, what our program impact is, how we can do better, and also how we can better help our volunteers. So knowing the kind of activity you're doing helps us know the kind of support to give. So we have our own goal. We want to document at least 1,000 activities by the end of 2017, and we need to hear from you to be able to do that. I think as of yesterday, we were around 350, and that's good. We started last year. A lot of it so far has been recruitment and building community, and now we're emphasizing really getting people out there. And this represents the minimum. I talk to a lot of people at conferences and stuff, and they tell me all this stuff they're doing that I had no idea because people are they're in it for the experience and to volunteer and to help and not necessarily remembering to report it. That's fine. So we know that this is the minimum amount of activity we have going on, and that's fantastic. But you can always email us or do our brief online reporting form. Let us know what you're up to, what you plan to be up to, big or small, short-term, long-term. We want to hear about all of it. So just a couple final thoughts to wrap up here. A quote from an educator. This is someone, she reached out, she got in touch with one GeoMentor. She ended up with two, including one whose own kids would be at her school. And she said, "Thank you so much for providing this service for educators like me who want to use ArcGIS more. My classes aren't very familiar with how it works." And then a quote from a GeoMentor of this is a great opportunity to be that person who gets a kid excited about geography. So that's really what this is about. You volunteering, you can be that person for an educator that helps them achieve their goals. You can be that person for a student that gets them excited about geography, about spatial thinking, about GIS, about career opportunities. So really the last question is, are you ready to be a GeoMentor? If you're ready to sign up, if you're still listening, I'm hoping you're still interested in being one. If you're still listening, you already are one. I hope you're excited about getting involved, about sharing your experience with others. I really think anyone who tuned in today or at any point, you're more than ready to be part of this, and we'd love to have you be part of this. And hey, why not sign up today? So I want to thank you for your time, for tuning in, and thank Diana and UCGIS again. And I believe we have time now for questions and comments, and also any GeoMentors who are listening, if they want to add and talk about their experience, we'd love to hear that too.
That sounds great. Thanks, Candice. So everyone, if you've got any questions, type them out there in the chat space that the platform provides, and I will share them with Candice. To get started, Candice, I have a couple questions. It was neat to learn about certain aspects of this program that I hadn't thought of before. And one of them is that the idea of a group becoming a mentor in a way. Like, if there were you want to be able to have some continuity between the mentor and the mentee, but I like that idea of the geography group or the GIS club or something at a school becoming the mentor, and you've got more than one individual able to help, and maybe the teacher provides, or the instructor or the faculty member provides the continuity from year to year. But I like that idea of a group becoming involved in that case. Are there many situations of that?
So yeah, we of course were thrilled to hear about that from them. I've heard from at least a couple other, and it's the undergraduate university level groups who have talked about doing the same thing, and I think that's fantastic. And I think it could be done at really any level of our volunteers. I even want to encourage, our professional level volunteers, if people want to partner up with others to do this, a big intimidating part can be the time involved, or if you're worried that you don't have the expertise. So the fact is, educators can find GeoMentors online, but GeoMentors can find other GeoMentors online. So I do encourage people to collaborate. That's the only student group so far that we've heard from, but there are a number of different GIS user groups. Some of them are regional, some of them are state-based, who have taken this on as a group. I believe actually there's one in Minnesota, and I think it was just last week, that they actually hosted their second educator day. So they were teaching a group of educators about how they can use GIS in the classroom. They were doing that as an organization. And of course, we have a lot of organizations who approach GIS Day and see what they can do. So the group concept, be it an undergraduate student group, be it a professional GIS user group, we have offices, people at workplaces who, as colleagues, are getting together, working together to find a connection and working with people. And so I think it only benefits everyone. It takes away some of that time pressure or that expertise pressure if you're worried that you don't know everything or have all the time. And it just provides more variety and ideas and creativity for the educator collaborator you're working with. So by all means, we definitely encourage people to collaborate. And the group idea, I think, is fantastic.
Yeah. We have a question that's come in about trying to find out how would you find out if your own local school system has signed up? I know you showed a map of there, but clearly, if one clicks, is there a way to do a search? Is there a database there on the website to find out if a particular school has already signed up for the ConnectEd?
Yes, so that's an interactive map that's available through our website if you go to the Connect tab. And also, if anyone, again, can't find something, email me. That geomentors@aag.org email address comes to me, as well as some other staff. But yeah, that's an interactive map that you can click on and see the exact school. Sometimes it's an individual school. Sometimes it's a whole school district. But yes, you can get information there to know which school that is in school district, or it could be a club or something. It'll say exactly what it is.
And that's a good way to start, because if somebody at that school district or that school is already interested enough in all of this to go and sign themselves up, at least you're not starting from complete scratch connecting to that school.
Exactly, because yeah, I'll admit it can be definitely a challenge to cold call, so to speak, a brand new school, and if you're not have that social connection with them or that. And so if there are people who don't want to do that kind of groundwork, you don't have to. We have 4,000, you can see, schools or entities out there with accounts. So reaching out and finding people, and some of those may have signed up and haven't figured out where to go from there, right? So finding out what status they are at with using it and how you can help, that's a great way to go.
Right. What is the policy on having GeoMentors? I mean, clearly because of the Esri donation to U.S. schools, whether they're public or private, there's a U.S. focus to this. But how is it working with either with the GeoMentor program overall, either having GeoMentors from outside of the U.S. or for having a school outside of the U.S. Or an organization try to get help through this system?
Right. So yeah, currently it's a U.S. focus, since we're again going along with the Esri gifts. But again, the GeoMentor concept, we don't want to relegate just to the U.S. or just the K-12. So we do have people who sign up internationally as GeoMentors who want to get involved. I encourage them, one, they can be a GeoMentor at a distance with classrooms here in the U.S., which I think is exciting and to bring international perspective. And there has been a lot of interest from people in other countries about how can they do a similar thing there. So what we're currently doing is, our funding, our focus right now is U.S. focused, but we collaborate as much as possible to share resources with them and tell them how we've structured our program. And as far as expanding, in particular, the Esri gift, the kind of idea now is to encourage them to contact their local in-country distributors and talk with them about partnerships with education, and if they can get a similar donation to happen where they are, pointing to our program and how we're doing it and seeing if the Esri component there will do a similar thing. So our current program doesn't dole out or work with the software or figuring out how to do it in other countries, but we're trying to help that idea spread and help people talk and get those connections going so they can have the same pop-up. If we could have GeoMentor programs everywhere and then start connecting them all, would be fantastic. But yes, there's been a lot of interest from people internationally who want to do a similar thing, and we'd love for that to happen.
Sounds good. I like that you have a lot of those lessons and suggestions for specific materials for people who wanted to get started with this. I have a question about kind of geography in general. A lot of the teachers, you were talking about the idea of helping GeoMentors, helping people to ask some geographic questions, but has the GeoMentors program also providing any support materials for people looking to cover geography in general, not just the GIS technical side of things?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we want to encourage everything. I'd say probably right now, yeah, the immediate website resources, since we're really focusing on this software donation, are centered around GIS. But we get emails and also case studies. So we get people asking about other resources and people talking about how they've used other resources. Not all of those case studies were people using GIS. So there are a lot of people, especially if they're working with younger students, who have done more hands-on activities. And definitely Esri's education blogs and the people who do the writing there. I'm sure a lot of us listening right now know Dr. Joseph Kursky, who's amazing, who has fantastic ideas that are GIS and non-GIS. So there are lots of resources and kind of endless activities and ideas that direction as well that we would love to support too. So if people are encountering a certain situation or have an idea for a volunteer activity that they don't currently see resources in our kind of curated spot on our website so far, by all means, please contact us. We'd love to help answer your questions. We'd love to help connect you with other people who are doing similar kind of more geography focused, maybe not geospatial technology focused exercises, because yeah, that's the bigger picture too. We want those kind of engagements to happen as well.
Most of the work with GIS, we saw this from the poll too, it comes a little bit easier with older kids, with high school kids, because perhaps the curriculum in some ways links to it, and the existing materials that there are tend to be for older students. We have someone here who's wondering whether you have any recommendations for working with younger classes or resources, especially like, you've got the 4th grade collection, but any ideas on even younger than that?
Yeah, actually I have it's in my files, but I basically have this go-to list of about 10 to 12 ideas for anyone who contacts me about K through 3rd grade that I've kind of put together over time from other people doing it, from asking people that we send out. I mean, there's great things you can do, like printing off aerial photos of the local community of the school and putting trace paper over the top, and they basically learn how to make their own map rendition from aerial photography. Or even just exploring aerial photography so people can get that new perspective of what their community looks like. And this is where I live, and this is where I go to school, and this is my path. There's a lot of great activities like that. Yeah, if someone wants that list, I need to make it into a flyer, and this is great. So I get a question, and now I'm writing this down to turn this into a resource we can post online. But yes, we do have suggestions and ideas and some case studies too that work with younger students.
Super. I think that would be a helpful resource out there.
Yeah.
Got time for one more question here, and it's going to be a comment too. This is from our colleague Lisa Keys-Matthews. Call out there to Lisa. Lisa would like us to remember that that anyone out there in the GeoMentor community can also connect to their state geographic alliance. National Geographic, as probably everyone on the call knows here in the U.S., helps support alliances for geography education across the U.S., and the Alliance Coordinator might be able to help you find schools and teachers that are interested in GIS in your state. So I'm going to type in the URL there to as a reminder for people. This is alliances.nationalgeographic.com.
And yes, that's
okay.
a great point. Thank you so much for saying that, Lisa, because we do have a lot of people who make connections through alliances. People are getting involved in the giant map traveling program in different states. And so, yeah, it's a great connection too.
Right. There's also, I don't know if there's any formal connection with this, but something else that AAG is working on right now, and I want to make sure that we put a plug for this out right now too. AAG has been helping put together a proposal to the College Board for an AP course in GIS and T. And if you're not familiar with that yet, I encourage you to look at their website. They are still looking for universities to provide a form of attestation support indicating their willingness to learn more about this, and perhaps at some point in the future be able to consider offering AP credit to students from high schools that take that course. So I'm going to put that link here into the chat space too. I think it's apgist.org. Is that right, Candice?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Super. Is there any connection at all between, apart from you and Michael Solom working together at AAG, is there any formal connection between the APGIS and T initiative and GeoMentors?
Maybe not formal, but clearly synergistic. I mean, we've actually been putting out a call to GeoMentors as part of outreach even to let high schools in their area know about the potential course, because part of it, you mentioned universities need to sign on to show interest. We also need 250 high schools to indicate they're not committing to saying, yes, we'll definitely have the course. They're saying we're interested. This would be something that we might want to offer at our school if it becomes available. And that's an important part of the proposal, is to show that interest. So we are still looking definitely to gain more high schools to sign on saying, yes, I'm interested. So we've told GeoMentors it'd be great if you could pass along information about that course to your local high school and get them to say, yes, they're interested. You know, this is an initiative to formalize and have a more constant presence of GIS and T in the high school curriculum. So it's a natural synergistic initiative, definitely.
Super, right. That's an important part of it. Of course, we need the high schools to specify their particular interest. All right, we have come to the top of the hour. I want to thank Candice very much for sharing all of this super information about this program with us. Thanks to all of you participants for joining us. The session has been recorded, so you'll get a link with it tomorrow, and we encourage you to share it widely. Learn more about the GeoMentors program. Anyone whose question I wasn't able to get to, or if you've got questions that are specific for Candice, clearly she is encouraging all of us to reach out to her. You've got all of her contact information there. Thank you again for joining UCGIS for this webinar, and stay tuned to our webinar page to see what other offerings there might be coming up soon, and hope to see you all again sometime. Thanks, Candice.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.